After 20 years of marriage, I discovered my wife had been cheating on me. She expected I'd beg, rage, plead, maybe even fight for her. But instead, I vanished. No warning, no drama, not even a note. Just silence. While she ran circles trying to reclaim control, I disappeared into the shadows, quietly rebuilding my life from nothing. Stronger, wealthier, untouched by her chaos, and completely free. 20 years. 2 full decades of birthdays, shared beds, holidays, deep talks after midnight, inside jokes whisper over candlelight dinners, and a rhythm of life that felt like peace. Her name was Clara. To the world, she was the ideal wife. Warm, polished, effortlessly charming. The kind of woman who could light up a room just by walking in. And to me, she was everything. Or so I thought. It was 2:07 a.m. The room was still, her soft breathing beside me as steady as ever. I got up to use the bathroom. Her phone was on the nightstand, the screen glowing in the dark, buzzing once. Then again. Normally, I wouldn't have looked. I trusted her completely. But something about that light, it felt like fate tapping me on the shoulder. I picked up the phone. One message preview was all it took. Can't wait for our next weekend. You're the only one who makes me feel alive. I didn't tremble. I didn't gasp. I didn't even blink. I simply opened the thread and began scrolling. 6 months of betrayal spilled out in front of me like broken glass. Pet names, grainy hotel selfies, fake business trip plans that coincided with the exact weekends I'd stayed back to care for her sick mother, to finish remodeling our kitchen, to support the launch of her precious boutique. My hands went ice cold, but my mind had never been clearer. I didn't confront her, didn't scream, didn't even take screenshots. I gently set the phone back in place, plugged it in, and made myself a promise, so quiet and deep it felt like the foundation of something new. She'll never see me coming. The next morning, I kissed her forehead as usual, made her coffee the way she liked it, hazelnut creamer, 2 sugars. I asked how her meeting went the night before, the one she'd lied about to sneak off and see him. Exhausting, she said with a sigh, rubbing her temples. You deserve to relax, I replied with a smile. That was the last real moment she ever had with me. While Clara drifted deeper into her deception, I began quietly reconstructing my life behind a mask of routine. First, money. I began transferring funds from our joint accounts into a personal one she didn't know existed. An account I had opened years ago after cashing out my shares in a small tech startup she had never cared to learn about. That single move secured over $1.3 million for my next chapter. Next, legal armor. I hired the best divorce attorney in the state. Brought him the full dossier I'd assembled, physical printouts, phone records, voice memos, even security cam footage from our smart home system. He leafed through the evidence, looked me dead in the eye, and said, You're walking away with everything. She'll never know what hit her. Exactly what I needed to hear. Then came the exit. We owned a lake house 3 hours north, peaceful, remote, and titled solely in my name. I had my mail rerouted, submitted a pre-written resignation letter to my job, and discreetly sold off several collectibles stored in our safe, untouched and unmissed by her. I waited until a Friday morning. She left for what she called a wellness retreat with her friends. In reality, a weekend rendezvous with him in a rented villa. I packed only what I needed: passport, documents, clothes, photos that mattered. I left the house spotless. No note, no fingerprints, no clues. Gone. 3 days later, Clara returned to silence. The locks were changed. My number disconnected. Our mutual friends? Not a word. All she found was a single email sent from a secure, untraceable account. You said I was boring, predictable, easy to control. You mistook love for weakness. Enjoy the silence. You earned it. Attached, the divorce filing and all the evidence. She didn't cry. Not at first. She raged, called, screamed, blamed, but the world offered only closed doors and cold shoulders. I didn't lift a finger. Didn't need to. The life she'd so carefully curated began to crumble, piece by piece, without a single push from me. Her friends, those polished dinner party couples and wine night confidants, vanished first. Why? Because I had already spoken to them. Calmly, personally, one by one, each received a sealed envelope with my initials. Inside, a brief letter, direct and emotionless, and a flash drive containing everything. Photos, messages, timelines, receipts. No dramatics, just truth. By the time Clara tried reaching out, she was met with silence, if not polite indifference. One reply said it all. You made your choices, Clara. He just gave us the facts. And then Derek, her lover, disappeared. The smooth-talking consultant with his charming smile and practice lines? He'd been stringing along several women. Clara thought she was the one. Derek saw a woman capable of betraying a husband of 20 years without blinking and promptly ran. Ghosted her. Changed jobs. Filed a harassment complaint when she showed up at his office. She was left alone. Abandoned. Ashamed. Unraveled. Then came the financial fallout. Clara assumed she was entitled to half. But she'd forgotten about the trust I created when I inherited my parents' estate. Every dollar spent on the house, the boutique, even her yoga studio, was traceable, legal, untouchable. And the prenup she signed in younger, more ambitious days? Still ironclad. When the judge reviewed the file, infidelity, financial deceit, and years of selfish neglect, he ruled swiftly in my favor. She walked away with her car. That was it. The boutique? Sold. The house? Mine. The lake house? Already mine. She called my lawyer sobbing after the ruling. This isn't fair. He left me with nothing. My lawyer calmly replied, he left you with exactly what you gave him. And just like that, the world she'd built on lies came crashing down. For years, Clara had lived for noise, her laugh echoing at brunch, the endless social media posts, the yoga selfies, the brunch quotes about living her truth, the constant buzzing of phone that never rested. Now, nothing. No selfies. No stories. No curated images of a life worth envying. Just silence. Her boutique shuttered quietly. Clients vanished. Word had spread about the affair, the deception, the fallout. She tried to spin a story of emotional abuse, launched a GoFundMe, claimed she'd been left with nothing. But receipts don't lie. Neither do ex-clients who remember her missed appointments, hungover Zoom sessions, and unprofessional behavior during what she called retreat weekends. The campaign tanked. She tried to pivot, teaching yoga online. A few signed up. Most never returned. Her YouTube channel, once filled with filtered positivity, was flooded with harsh truths. Comments like, maybe do a video on how to betray your husband of 20 years. Found your ex's story. Wow, you should have stayed quiet. She deleted it all. And then, 1 year to the day I disappeared, I sent her a letter. Just one sheet of paper. No cruelty. No triumph. Just the kind of peace she never understood. Clara, you always needed the world to hear you. I only ever wanted peace. You thought silence was weakness. But look what it gave me. Freedom, clarity, and a life I love waking up to. I hope one day, when the noise fades, you find something real. Not applause, not another man. Just something real. Goodbye, Jay. I didn't sign it with love, because what I gave her wasn't love. It was closure. That moment. Not the courtroom victory. Not Derek's vanishing act. Not even her public fall from grace. That moment was a real revenge. And now, it's been 5 years since I walked away from Clara's life. Not once have I looked back, not out of anger, because everything I needed was ahead of me. My mornings now begin with quiet. The kind of silence I used to dread, now the kind I crave. No bitterness over coffee. No ice in her voice. Just sunrise, a good brew, and stillness. I built a small cabin just outside the city. Modest, beautiful, entirely mine. There's a greenhouse out back. A fireplace that fills the house with warmth. Shelves lined with books I finally had time to read. And then there's Anna. Not loud. Not manipulative. Not lost in vanity. I met her at a local animal shelter. She moved with quiet confidence. spoke more with her eyes and her words. We started slow, no games, no walls, no grand fireworks. Just trust, conversation, truth. She doesn't know every chapter of what Clara did. She doesn't need to. What matters is the man I became after surviving it. Sometimes, an old friend will reach out and say, "Heard about Clara. Man, you dodged a bullet." And I smile, because I didn't just dodge a bullet. I walked through fire, came out the other side, and never looked back. Clara? Last I heard, she moved to a smaller town, tried dating again. But when the world has seen the mask slip, trust isn't easy to earn. She's quiet now, but not peacefully, just forgotten. And if you've ever been broken by someone you gave everything to, someone who treated you like a placeholder in your own story, remember this. Revenge doesn't need fireworks. Sometimes, the loudest message is the life you rebuild in silence. And the most powerful "I told you so" is never having to say a word.